everybody, it's John Brown, the one and only Bandana Gamer, coming to you today with the conclusion, part 3 of the Game of the Year video series. This video will feature some amazing YouTubers and their games of the year, and will feature my own personal game of the year. And I do want to apologize. I was supposed to get this video out last week, but I live in DC and I got distracted by some stuff going on. Don't want to get too much into that, but I hope you will please forgive me for that, dropping that ball and not getting this video out sooner. So with that, let's get to our first YouTuber. He is the man, the myth, the legend. The man who beat 150 games in 2020. That is Captain Algebra. And here he is with his Game of the Year.
Hey everybody, Captain Algebra here. Once again, thank you to the one and only Bandana Gamer for asking me to be a part of this collaboration again. It was so much fun last year, so I'm glad I can give my input on my Game of the Year this year. And I played a lot of games this year. A lot of you know that my goal is to beat 100 games in my collection this year. And so I played a lot of games, and it was very tough to choose. I was talking to Bandana Gamer, and I was like, there are probably 5 times I've switched my answer. And I finally settled on the game that probably meant the most to me, even though it's a game I've had since it came out in the 90s, and that's Donkey Kong Country. So the reason this was so important to me this year was because I finally sat down and wanted to do a no-death run of this game. Now, I didn't do it to 100% completion. My goal is just to beat the game. No warps, just get through the game. And it was a good ride. I probably, for a week straight, maybe a couple of weeks, I probably played through it 20, 30 times to practice it. And there were a lot of deaths.
What the f***? I did it again. Oh, did it. No!
But just coming back to this game and revisiting it, it's probably one I play every couple of years for sure, but I kind of just, it's not as appreciated as it once was for me. I grew up with it. I've had it since it came out, and I was blown away. But since then, I've always said Donkey Kong Country 2 is now my favorite game of all time on the SNES. And playing this so much is like, this gives it a run for money. It's not better, in my opinion, but it's so great. The music, the level design, everything about it is just amazing. And it's crazy that the game still looks so good today. Now, I don't really care about graphics. I care about gameplay. But, this came out in the 90s, and it still looks fantastic. And if you have any way of playing this, whether it's original on Super Nintendo, playing it on the Switch Online, it's definitely a game that every gamer has to play. Recently, I've been watching my buddy E.C. Myers' vids on YouTube. He's finally going through it for the first time, and it's crazy to me to think that an iconic game like this, there's people out there who still haven't played it, and it's so amazing. You guys need to play it if you haven't, but I know it's an old game, and there were other very serious contenders, but I love this game so much. It is so much fun, and to finally be able to do a no-death run of it felt pretty special.
Yes! Woo! Finally!
So thanks again, Bandana Gamer, for having me on. It was a great time. Now, back to you.
Thank you so much for that, Cap. And of course, Donkey Kong Country, as we've already seen before, is an amazing game. It is still a game that blows my mind to this day. Anytime I see it, I think of just little kid version of me seeing commercials and everything and thinking, wow, like video games will never look better than this. So great pick. Glad you sat down and got some time with it. Amazing choice. So let us move on to our next YouTubers. We also have McLean, who just could not hold his excitement in for Game of the Year, joining us on this broadcast. Our next YouTubers are really the president and first gentleman of YouTube. That's right, it's Lacey and Tom, Do You Nerd, with their picks for Game of the Year.
What's up, nerdlings?
What up, nerdlings?
Tom and Lacey of Do You Nerd here, and a huge thank you to the one and only Bandana Gamer for having us on board with this collab. So we're talking about the games that impacted us the most in 2020, even if the games did not come out in 2020. Well, I tell you what, I probably sunk the most time into Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I think I'm getting close to 200 hours, and I just started the DLC. But that's not the game that impacted me the most. That honor goes to this guy right here. Friday the 13th on the Switch. We had this game on the PS4 for a few years, but it wasn't until the Switch that we started to get a weekly get-together of a group of friends here in the YouTube community to play this every single Sunday. Listen, the game is glitchy.
It is the coolest glitch ever.
Ha ha ha, that's hilarious.
The game is repetitive, but that doesn't matter because the memories we have shared while playing this game together, we crack up. Honestly, it does not matter if we survive, if we kill everyone or not. Win or lose, it's just so much fun, and it gives me something to look forward to each and every week. Whenever Sunday comes around, it's kill for mother time. That's what's impacted me the most in 2020, especially without conventions and events to get out to see my friends. It's nice to have some way of looking forward to them every single week.
Well, for me, the game that impacted me most in 2020, like the shirt says, How I Survived the Quarantine, would have to be Animal Crossing. Now, I absolutely love the Animal Crossing franchise to begin with, but this game upped the ante, gave us everything we always wanted in a game. And with the fact that we had quarantine, we couldn't go anywhere, couldn't go to conventions, you can invite your friends to your island and be able to chat via the app on the phone or just mailing people stuff. It was just so much fun. It was also a nice, calm, serene island that you could be on. And instead of the chaos of whatever's going on out in the world, it's just a nice, relaxing getaway that makes you forget everything.
We have opposite ends of the spectrum of staying in touch with one another.
But both games still let you chat with friends while you're playing a game together.
Thanks again so much for having us on board, and hey, who knows, maybe these games will get us through 2021 as well.
Thank you, you two. You're awesome. You are so cool. Thank you, Do You Nerd. Great picks, of course. We've seen Friday the 13th pop up on here, and I know that that little group really, really enjoyed that game. And Animal Crossing might not have been for me, but I do know that a lot of people loved and appreciated it, and it did such an amazing service this year, helping get some people through this crazy pandemic. So now, it is time for Bandana Gamer's Game of the Year. So like I said, I was down between this and Castlevania Bloodlines. And so I decided Castlevania Bloodlines would be my retro game of the year. And I'd have a modern game of the year. But I have to say, after thinking about it, this is really my game of the year. This is the game that when I popped it in and started playing it, I fell absolutely in love with this. It's an open world game. And I generally am fairly narrative focused on open world games, and I just kind of plow through them, and I don't do a lot of side quests and stuff. But this game had stuff going on that I just had to check out, and there were things I wanted to earn, and it's a smaller game in some ways, and I loved it so much, and the ending was great, but I wanted the game to keep going. And there are some things you can keep going, but I just wanted more from the story. I'm hoping that this is not the end of this character. We'll see a sequel, a full sequel to this game, and that is Spider-Man Miles Morales, kind of the expansion turned into a smaller version of the game. I did not play a lot of the original Spider-Man, and that, as a comic book nerd, I'll admit I'm not a huge fan of Peter Parker. My favorite Spider-Man it's a tie between Miles Morales and Miguel O'Hara. But this game, oh man, I love New York. The city feels vibrant and alive, and you feel like you can just jump anywhere. There is fast travel, and I never ever wanted to use the fast travel just because of how great it felt swinging on the webs. Unlocking every costume got to be a big deal for me. And like I said, I'm not someone who usually does a lot of side quest stuff. So I wanted to make sure. And huge bonus, if you've looked at some of my older videos, you know I'm a huge fan of the Marvel 2099 series or line of comics. And there is a Miles Morales inspired Spider-Man 2099 costume, which I absolutely love. Instead of just throwing the Spider-Man 2099 costume, which is what we saw in the old game, they did what would Miles Morales look like in 2099, and I loved that. In terms of the combat, it's a great kind of beat 'em up game. Loved the added stuff with the Venom Punch and the stealth sequences. I cannot recommend this game higher. Like I said, it's short because it's rides that line of expansion and full game. And I played this on a base PS4, and it still amazed me how it looked and how it played. So once again, I cannot say enough good things. I'm so glad this came out on the PS4 because I was not ready to jump to the PS5. And so yeah, Spider-Man Morales, amazing game that I believe everyone should go pick up. And it is the Bandana Game of the Year. And so that's going to do it for this video. I have to say thank you to everyone who contributed to this series and just the amazing community that was a part of this, and the amazing community of people that wanted but didn't have time to get to these videos. And I just want to thank each and every one of you, and thank everyone watching. This year was crazy, to say the very least. And the YouTube community and the retro game community is a huge part of how I got through this year. So thank you. And my friends, I hope you're staying safe. I hope you're staying healthy. Hope you're staying sane. And I will catch y'all in the next one. Peace.